All right, welcome. Welcome everyone. So this is the inaugural launch of our Self-Care Saturday. I'm Shay Molendijk. I'm the Director of Education and the Director of Warriors for YogaFit. And I've been doing that for about over 10 years now, which is crazy, but I love it. It's an amazing job that I get to do. I'm joined here by lots of friends I know, familiar faces to YogaFit and maybe brand new friends to YogaFit. So welcome. We thought we would start these self-care Saturdays once a month to offer really free resources to you, the consumer, to the public, about all this wonderful information. I'm sure you've been reading about how empowering and powerful, yoga is, which we'll do a little bit of it at the end. Your choice if you want to do it or not. If you're just here for the Blue Zone information, wonderful. But more importantly, what I think we have as a secret ingredient, in all yoga circles really, but especially in YogaFit, is our sense of community and connection that we have that is so strong. And really what we're going to see from the Blue Zone study, incredibly powerful for keeping us healthy for a lifetime, regardless of our genetic predispositions, which I don't know about you, but that's a good news story, right? So, all right. So if you guys don't mind, I'd love to hear from you, to put in the chat just to kind of get a sense of connection, where you are zooming from. Where are you dialing in from around the world? Maybe we have people from around the world taking our trainings, and I'll call that out in the chat. All right. So go ahead and do that. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Sunny Florida. Hey, Lamar. Jade in Maryland. Yeah. Oh, wow. Lots of people. Maine, Concord, New Hampshire, Oregon, Montreal, Canada. Wonderful. Alberta, Canada. Buffalo, Texas. Woohoo. Kentucky. Hey, Crystal. Oh, my gosh. Hey, friends. So excited. Hey, you guys are here. Wonderful. Oh, my gosh. Washington State. Yeah. Hey, Jamie. Oh, Winston-Salem. Okay. Well, fabulous. Maybe you already did something for your self-care this morning, right? Did anyone get out and already walk or exercise or look at the sun? I did, got up early and went and exercised and feel really good. Now my husband is trying to convince me that I need to get outside and help him with the yard work. I had other plans for today. I was like, wait a minute. That's not on my calendar today. I'm going to have to get back to you and let you know that's going to work out for my schedule. I don't mind doing your work, but it's like a little chilly, a little windy. I'm like, can this wait? Is this mandatory right now? Oh, all right. I'll give one more minute and then I'm going to get started because I have a lot of information to cover. So this book is a brand new, I should say brand new, it's updated. So the Blue Zone study was done over, 20 years ago. And I'll tell you a little bit of background when we get there, but I love this book. I just got it in preparation for this workshop, and it's updated with some really cool new information. So I'll share a little bit about that. I've been familiar with the Blue Zone study for a very long time. So raise your hand. I'll just kind of get the view. I'm going to go to the gallery view. Who out here has, or just kind of put your thumbs up? Y'all heard of the Blue Zone study? Yeah. Hey, Terry, good to see you. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Okay. I asked all of my yoga classes this week if they had heard of it, and I would say the majority had not. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, oh, I thought everybody kind of knew about the Blue Zone study. And I teach a lot of seniors. I have 3 chair yoga classes.
You can get rid of some of the soda.
Are my tribe. We're going to look at having a tribe, having a sense of connection and community. Absolutely. They're my medicine. And I thought, wow, I need to share this information more with them and let them know they're on the right path by showing up, coming to yoga classes. We spend a lot of time before and afterwards, chatting it up. And it's always a wonderful thing. So highly recommend if you don't have it, this book, but there's also, and maybe some of you have seen it, a Netflix series on it that was done. That's really excellent as well. So if you're like more of a video watcher versus a book reader, totally get it. Yeah, that's a great option. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the PowerPoint. I have a PowerPoint. It's my presentation. Always going to have a PowerPoint. I will share this if you signed up, right? If maybe you're joining this from the link from Facebook, which is fine. If you would like this PowerPoint afterwards sent to you, then you're going to have to send me an email that says, hey, Shay, I didn't sign up on the initial registry. And I would really like this PowerPoint. So please send that to me. My email is on here, warrior@yogafit.com. If you signed up, right, and you signed up on that, like, I think it was a MailChimp survey, yeah, and you had to put your name and email, then you're going to get it. Don't worry about it. But if you're like, I just saw the link today, Shay, I'm signing up today, then send me an email and let me know if you want it, because otherwise I don't have your email. If that makes any sense. All right, so the Blue Zone study, this is all my information. I've already relayed a lot of that to you. And I'm here for you. If you're new or you're wanting to get started in some kind of way with YogaFit, whether it's for personal development, which is absolutely fine, whether it's to become a yoga teacher, you're interested in our trauma-informed programs or any of our therapy programs, please, I'm your contact. Reach out to me. Happy to talk with you about it. All right, let's get started. So this is the book that I will reference throughout. Everything in here that is on these slides really comes directly from this book. So I don't want to take credit for it. I'm going to give Dan Buettner credit for it. So just please know that, credit where credit's due. So, but we're going to start with a math problem. What? Math? I didn't sign up for math, Shay. It's easy. Get your phone out. Get your phone out. Everybody has a phone. You have a calculator or on your computer. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to start by multiplying your age times 365. Okay, that's what we're going to start with. I'll do it with you. I've already done it, but I'll do it with you. Share my results here. All right, so 365 times
The application does not need to be refrigerated.
3. Okay, it's a lot. Now you have to remember that number or write it down. You're going to subtract that number from 30,000. All right, I got my number. Once you have that number, then you're going to divide that one by 365. And that is how many more years on average you have left to live. Mine is about 29. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm going to need a little bit more than that. Got a lot of things to do. But that's the average life expectancy, right? So some of us are going to be a little shorter than that. Some of us are going to be a little longer. That should get our giddy up going. If we haven't got excited about today, carpe diem. Let's get excited about today and just showing up for this, right? Taking the time, mentally sitting down and really sitting with some of this information. And then of course, maybe moving at the end, all wonderful things. Plus, how cool is it that we're connected from all over the place right now in this space and time? That's a real connection, even though it's I know through Zoom, it is still a real connection. So we'll contemplate that in our practice just a little bit. Okay, so everybody, now we are motivated. I am motivated with you. So I can get to here. So I can look like this, right? I absolutely could be wearing something crazy on my head and all the fun glasses, right? Just like my solar eclipse glasses. So the Blue Zone study was a research initiative that focused on areas in the world. We're going to look at them, a few of them, where people live longer, healthier lives. And, really outside the statistical average, a lot of centenarians, if I said that correctly, I've been practicing. And so what they looked at was lifestyle factors that contributed to longevity and happiness. They really did go there with this sort of idea of, what are they eating, right? Diet. How are they moving? I've heard this said before, and it makes me laugh every time. It is actually not rocket science. This is not how to live longer, right? I think we understand it. So it's not just a logic game, but this is going to show there's something to, more importantly, our environment and our sense of community and connection that is way more important than even diet or exercise, even though, of course, we know probably should eat healthy, probably should move our body, right? There's no science to that. Everybody wants the secret pill. There isn't one. I don't know. Maybe is it Ozempic, the secret answer? It might be. If you're on it, hey, good for you. All right, so here is the Blue Zone study. Here is the big places, the original places that they went around the world to look at. Okay, so where are they? Okinawa, Japan. I've actually been there. What a beautiful location. Absolutely gorgeous. It's very tropical, weirdly. Japan, like a little cooler, but you go south, it's like, oh, it's wonderful. Icaria, Greece, Sardinia, Italy, Nicoya, Costa Rica, and Loma Linda in California. It's actually the Seventh-day Adventist. Whew, it's a mouthful, that they studied there and what their practices were, which is really fascinating. And then a brand new Blue Zone, Singapore itself has been identified as a Blue Zone, and that's the update. in the book. I'm not going to go too much into that because I have so much other things to cover, but interesting how Singapore got added into those blue zones. And why they called it blue zone is because they went to Okinawa and they found this area, beautiful, center of Okinawa, and they call it the blue zone there. And they thought that was a great name, Dan did, for these places around the world. So that's where blue, if you were interested, blue zone. Also, you think of like blue hair. That's what I think of. All right. Okay, let's start with some bad news. Wah, wah. And maybe we knew this, maybe you've seen this. There was a brand new report that just came out, and I'm going to go over it later, the World Health Happiness Report. And they started this 10 years ago in 2013, and America's continually to fall. And these are some of the reasons why. Now, this information, by the way, does come from the Blue Zones book. So the current maximum life expectancy for people in developed nations, right, and that's with people with good healthcare systems, vaccinations, et cetera, is 93 years. I was shocked by that. I was like, well, isn't it 76 in my brain? I don't know why, but I've had 76-ish, little more for women as the average age. But that's not true for other places in the world. So, of course, a little less for men in general and a little longer for women. But here in the US, our life expectancy just recently has become 74, only 74, and it fell from a high of 77. Okay, that's to me not so high if 93 is the average. So what's going on here in our world, in America especially? And in Canada, you have some slight differences. So I know I have some Canadians on, a little bit better, but still, we're still lower overall than other places in the world. And this is really shocking. We spent more, and I don't know about you, but I take a ton of supplements. Anyone? My husband, he's looking at this. He's like, what is this? And I'm like, this is going to keep me healthy longer. I don't know now, right? Because this kind of says otherwise. We spend more than anybody else on vitamins and supplements. It's a massive industry, right? 151 billion. But many studies are showing that people who take supplements actually live shorter lives than people who don't. What is going on there? And maybe I could save a lot of money every month and just stop all of it. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder. I really am. This is really shaking up my beliefs here. Despite also this big amount of money spent on exercise in the exercise industry, I don't know, we spend more on fancy tennis shoes that we never use. I think truly that's what's crazy about it. And only 1/5 of us, though, are getting the recommended amount of vigorous activity, which is only 11 minutes a day. And we're not meeting that goal. Wow, 1/5, only 1/5. Holy cow. And I know everyone here is probably the exception, right? You're active, you're on it, or you're not and you're wanting to. Hey, we got you, right? I could just go out for a walk. That's kind of like the big takeaway here is it's not fancy gyms in any of these places. It's not. They don't even have them. They walk. Okay, there it is. And the sad news is that we know this, diets fail for everyone almost all the time. Like just don't work. And I know there's a whole side note we could talk about the new weight loss drugs, all of that, wonderful. But for the most part, diets themselves is just, we spend a lot of money on them. We get excited every New Year's. And then January 19th is the day people stop. Most people just don't make it that far. All right, so something else has to change, right? There has to be something else to it. And these places where these people live to over 100, something to look at. Now, I want to point out also, I think pretty cool, is that they took this information that we're going to go into more, and they extrapolated the principles that we're going to go through here in just a minute, these 9 big principles, to other locations here in America. They said, hey, let's see if we could take some of these principles and implement them in the cities. And so the cities had to buy off on them, right? The city council, the mayor, and they did. They went to these different places, and you can look it up on the Blue Zone site. You can see the city's projects. Just for example, in Albert Lea, Minnesota was the first place they went to. They reduced healthcare claims by 49% and increased life expectancy by 3 years by doing some simple things. That's shocking. So it's cost effective, right? They're like, well, how much does it cost to implement these things? But then what's the cost savings? And I think that's the way we're going to get this movement forward. I think we know this. A lot of us are in the health industry, right? Health and fitness industry. Maybe you're yoga teachers or health coaches, etc. And I'm always like, it's this health savings. The money you spend up front is going to save you money on the back end. It's cheaper to live healthier. Well, I shouldn't say that, right? Organic food is a little expensive, but healthcare costs are so expensive. Now, Fort Worth, Texas, we'll look at that on the next slide in just a second. And then in Beach Cities, California, they reduced obesity by 25% and tobacco use by 36%. In Spencer, Iowa, they had 50% of city workers, because they really focus on city workers there, eliminated at least one disease risk factor. And then in Southwest Florida versus the whole state of Florida, they saw lower tobacco use, 28% lower in poor nutrition. That's in double negative, which I hate. So they had better nutrition, right? 70% lower in stress, 23% obesity, and 9% better in exercise. I know. Why do they do it that way? I don't know. All right. So this is Fort Worth. This is some changes that they saw in Fort Worth. They saw a 31% decrease in smoking, 9-point increase in residents who exercise at least 30 minutes, 3.7-point increase in those who say Fort Worth is a perfect place for them, more content in their environment, which is really important. We have a principle in yoga called santosha. Santosha is a beautiful word, isn't it? That means contentment. As a powerful practice of well-being. So not feeling content where you are actually impacts your well-being. So that's very important. 5.6-point increase in those who say they are proud of their community, same kind of idea. It's now at over 69% Fort Worth. And more than 58% of Fort Worth respondents are now categorized as thriving versus just surviving, right? Which is wonderful. So maybe we should pay attention to what they've done. I thought this is good information to start with, and that, we have to look at it from a systems approach. And our healthcare system isn't necessarily a healthcare system, isn't necessarily health focus, nor does it reward health, does it? And so this makes me a little sad and a little mad about what we do here and how we reward behavior. We actually reward, I not say bad behavior, but we reward poor health, right? So, and pharmaceutical companies profit when you fill a prescription, surgeons bill when you need a procedure, of course, hospitals make money when you occupy a bed, but very few businesses profit from your health. Think about that. Well, you do as your own business. Maybe think of yourself as a business. And I love it. It says on the follow, we're rewarding, like we're saying, like in school, we're rewarding an A, but we're hoping for a B. It's opposite of what we want. We reward sickness. We reward sickness. Pharmaceutical companies profit and all that. Oh, I just repeated that. So meanwhile, the number of middle-aged people with a chronic disease like diabetes or heart disease has doubled from 30% in 1980. This is shocking, to 60% today. 60%. Wow. Despite racking up a massive bill, this is very costly, right? $4.4 trillion a year, which is 1/6 of our GDP. Our healthcare system delivers no better outcomes than nations that spend half as much. It's costly and we're getting sicker. It's more costly and we're getting sicker. There's a great, it's a little older now, documentary though, by Dr. Andrew Weil called Escape Fire on Netflix. It's called Escape Fire. And he really dials in on this. And nothing much has changed, unfortunately. Since 2019, the life expectancy has fallen, as we know, it's now down to 74, not just 76.4. Okay, so here's the bottom line. If you're looking for like, what's the big takeaway here? The big takeaway is that we have to change our surroundings. Look at the petri dish that the cell lives in, right? What's your environment? That is going to be a bigger determinant of your health and well-being than the individual choices that you make. And it's going to make healthy choices easier to make. That's the whole point here. That's exactly what they're going after. So their health and longevity stemmed from their surroundings. Your surroundings absolutely impact you, right? You can think of it in your microsystem here, your microcosm of your house, right? Things that you can do from the Blue Zone study, highly recommended. Leave your tennis shoes out, right? See right in front, your walking shoes, right? Your running shoes. Put healthy food right in front where you can see it and grab it easier. Put like the snacky stuff away, out of sight. I think we know all these kind of things, right? So simple things to do, mindful eating practices, etc. Take time for family dinners, all those things. And then, but then looking at the bigger picture is our cities and communities, which we may not feel like we have a lot of control over. That's what these projects we're trying to go after. So these key findings, before we get into the 9 principles, big things. The big things are mostly a plant-based diet. So when they went there, they said, hey, what's the best diet? That's what we're looking for. They found that people pretty much ate local food, but it was mostly plant-based. They did eat meat, but no more than 5 times a month, and mostly pork, weirdly, right? Of course, some places more like fish if it was like in Okinawa. They got regular physical activity as just part of their daily life. Nobody went to the gym, not in any of these places. Isn't that shocking, right? And me coming just back from the gym, they walk like they have to walk to get their groceries. But their cities, their communities, their towns were more conducive to walking or riding bikes. That's how they got around. It was just part. They got up and moved every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, they got up and moved. Again, not big weightlifting, right? You know, HIIT activities, that kind of stuff.
Listening to
They
a
all had strong
seminar.
social connections. That's the biggest common
I'm
denominator
living longer.
of centenarians, or let's again say that right. People who live to 100, and even if you don't live to 100, most of these places lived well into their 90s effortlessly, is because of these social bonds and connections. And I love this one. Ikigai, again, probably saying that wrong, a sense of purpose, having a strong sense of when you wake up in the morning, what are you going to do? Who are you? Do you know who you are? Really powerful stuff. I believe me, I've struggled with that. I think we all do. I think we all go through that time of, why am I here? And this being alive is kind of a weird thing. Like, what's my real dharma, my purpose, right? Yoga helps us, or has at least helped me to find it. Maybe you found it in different ways, really helping to cultivate a stronger inner sense of who I am. And really that turns on an inner compass, if you will, inner GPS. So I know what I'm supposed to do every day. And it looks different every day. But waking up knowing who you are, I think, is the first step. And so if you haven't found a yoga practice, well, get ready. We're going to do one today, a little mini one. Maybe it will help just sort of recalibrate that inner compass just a little bit. And I feel so blessed. I know many of you are nodding your head. You feel the same way, especially my yoga fit friends out here have been doing this work, waking up with the sense of purpose to help others, right? To wake up and appreciate the subtle, beautiful things in life. Like, it's a beautiful sunny day and my husband's out doing yard work and I'm not right now. And I'm really appreciative of that. I get to be with you. I'll get out there, I promise. All right. Role of community environment had the largest impacts. That's a big thing to walk away from. Wasn't the supplements, wasn't going to the gym. Whoa, I don't know about you. That's kind of a relief. I mean, kind of. I mean, I'm still going to go to the gym. I am, but maybe I could like back off a little bit. Okay, so let's go through all these. Number one, get moving. I think we just said that, right? The idea is, and we're going to get moving here. Simple activities. A lot of these places, they all had gardens. Yeah, maybe you don't have that opportunity. You can do a little windowsill garden, right? You can put some little plants on your back porch. Anybody a gardener? Anybody like to garden? Yeah, awesome. I'm so grateful for the people who bring in fresh vegetables or fruits, a lot of fruits, right? But vegetables, especially from their gardens, coming up here in the summer and share them with our communities. I know at one of the yoga studios I go to, people do that. And I'm like, oh, look at this fresh tomato, free. This is so nice. But like it says, they don't run marathons, they don't pump iron, they don't go to the gym. They live in environments that constantly nudge them towards movement without thinking about it. It's not willpower. That's why diets fail. We only have so much willpower, and eventually you kind of exhaust it. It shouldn't feel like heavy work. It shouldn't feel hard. It should just be part of your daily life activities, right? They don't have mechanical convenience for house and yard work, right? That electric lawnmower, I'm still going to use it. Is it gas powered? It's not electric. Mine's gas. I'm going to use it because it's still hard enough. Right? But, you know, instead of like down the street, I have a place for a pool, right? A community pool. Sometimes like my husband and I go, like, let's drive. I'm like, let's just walk. It's a half mile. Let's walk. Can we walk instead? I know in some cities that's very difficult, and that's part of the Blue Zone Project initiative, is they change that to make it easier for people to walk in locations. All right, let's just do some inner work here for just a second. This will help set us up for our practice a little bit better, or maybe just set us up for our day. So this principle from Japan called Ikigai, and Okinawans call it Ikigai, Nicoyans, I don't think I said that either in Costa Rica though, they call it Plan de Vida. For both, it translates to why I wake up in the morning. Knowing your why, knowing your sense of purpose, listen to this, is worth up to, this has been studied, 7 years of extra life expectancy. I think if you just think about it for a little bit, people, you know, we know that people who are at the end of their life, maybe, you know, have cancer or deathbed, it's just the end of their life, they will hold on. I'm coming to visit grandma, wait for me. They will, having a sense of purpose. Now, of course, that's not indefinite. but that can get people to go, knowing you have a sense of purpose, a sense of hope, a sense of something you're trying to fulfill every single day. So ask this question. I'll ask it of you to just contemplate, ponder it for just a minute. So if we want to just ground ourselves where we're at, maybe take a moment to find our breath. Bring our consciousness into our body in the present moment. So thinking about maybe from your family or friends, people who've known you for a long time, or even from when you were very young, have they said you have special gifts or just are blessed in some way? Maybe you haven't thought about it, right? Maybe it's a gift of gab. I haven't thought about that as a gift till lately. And my teacher certainly didn't think it was a gift when I was bugging them all the time with questions. It is a gift, right? Inquisitiveness about the world. Are you curious about it, right? How have these gifts persisted in your life? Doesn't have to be like, I'm a great ballerina or I'm a wonderful singer. It may be. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of you. Please honor those gifts. We've all been given special gifts. Maybe it's gifts of intellect, gifts of awareness, gifts of maintaining and forming strong bonds and friendship. Maybe you're a great connector in your family or your community. Those are all gifts. What are your gifts, right? And then now imagine, and I'm sorry, I did this PowerPoint yesterday, some of it a little quickly, and obviously I missed some words here. Fill in. Imagine being on your deathbed. I know that's a little morbid, but it's a wonderful thing to do. Like at the end, we just did that life expectancy. I got 29 more years on average. Okay, at the end, in 29 years, which isn't a lot of time in my brain, did you give and receive love? Did you give and receive love? Were you authentically you? It takes a lot of energy, doesn't it? I think wasted energy to show up and not be you, to have to put on a false front, to wear a mask, to be something else, to kind of fit yourself into a square hole and you're a round peg, right? Were you authentically you? Have you been given permission? That may be very hard. Depends on your circumstances, where you've come from, what you've been through. That's a lot of trauma work, isn't it? Right? I know that very well. So it's not easy to show up and be authentically you. To really kind of actually show up like naked in the world. Energetically, what a free experience. I mean, literally naked. Of course, you know that, but feel free. I mean, if you can in your community, I don't care. But showing up energetically naked where you don't have to put on a false front. Do you have those kinds of communities you can go to be yourself in your own home with your families and friends? Did you make a small difference in the world? Very important, especially as we get older. You know, I find a greater sense of the need. We call it generativity is how I was kind of taught in it in my counseling program, but very important. Giving back, volunteering, giving to, you know, friends and families, charity work, etc. Small difference, even a small difference, doesn't have to do a big difference. Say hi to the cashier, you know, pause and see the unseen in your communities who hold up the community. Are you curious? I already asked that, but really important. Are you curious? What are you most curious about these days? Maybe the Blue Zone study today, right? Wake up, learn something every single day. That's my goal. It's like, I don't want to waste a day not challenging myself, challenging my beliefs. I'm reading a great book, side note, called Think Again, and really powerful about how and you know, this speaks to our society these days, these really hard lines we find ourselves in, these battle lines drawn, these black and white approaches to life. And maybe that works for you. But this book is really kind of shaking up that idea, and that the people are most successful in life, and I think probably live longer, have a more open system approach. Come at it from a place of, I don't know, I'm curious. Tell me more about that. Help me to understand this approach, right? Your beliefs even, or help me to understand something new about the world. Whatever that is, right? So find something today. I'll be curious if I do the yard work today or not. I'll let you know. I'm going to get out there, do something hard. I'm going to challenge myself. That's a good thing. We should challenge. It should be a little hard. It's hard for me to get out there and do it. I'm going to do it. All right. Hold me to that. Downshift. Yogis are like, yes. Downshift. Absolutely. Okay. So Okinawans take a few moments each day to remember their ancestors. Sorry, I need a little coffee. Adventists pray. Icarians take a nap. Whoop, whoop. And Sardinians do happy hour. Let's hear it. All of those things. I'm like, let me just do all. That would be cool. So honoring where you came from, your ancestors who gave you the strength to be here. Even if you come from a family of a lot of stress and trauma, a lot of difficulties, that in some ways gave you the strengths you're blessed with today. right? You're here today because they didn't die, because they did what they could to survive. Maybe they weren't great people, I don't know, but you're here because of them. So there's something about honoring our ancestors that's important. I'm starting to become more appreciative for my ancestors for sure. Having a sense of connection to something bigger than you, whether it's God or whatever you believe in, the belief itself is important, right? Energetically, nature, God, something bigger than you. Taking a nap, resting, giving yourself permission to rest. Any nappers? I am proud. I'm not embarrassed to say I nap on a daily basis if I'm able to. Now, when I'm leading workshops, I can't. But I'm telling you, like a 15, 20-minute nap is amazing. Now, some people I know it messes with their sleep and they don't do it, but ooh, don't be ashamed to nap. And a happy hour, we'll look at that too. But again, social bond and connection, that's really the takeaway from that. Meditate, we know that, research-backed ways. Even watching a funny video or YouTube, I was going to put one in here and I totally forgot to do that. But I have friends who send those on it. At first I was like, I don't have time to like watch a silly video and I'm not that person. And I've gotten over that. I'm like, no, I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause. I'm not going to watch all of them, but there's some funny ones. I just pause. I listen to a comedian, you know, or two. I love Nate Bargatze. I love Leanne Morgan, going to see her next month. Laughing is really important to me. Take a moment to write a thank you note to a coworker or a friend to express gratitude. I have a friend, I think she may be on this listening. She's so good at that. She's so good at thanking people, writing notes to people, old-fashioned way, taking the time to express gratitude. I'm learning from her. I'm learning from her to do that better. It's an important thing to say thank you. And friend, I love you. And friends, I love all of you. All right. 80% rule. Really have been trying to focus on this. Enjoying food. First of all, very important to me. Love to eat. Oh my gosh, absolutely love to. Who doesn't? But stopping when you're 80% full. You may have heard this, and you probably have heard it takes 20 minutes for your stomach to even recognize that it's full. If you ever watched like Man versus Food, I find that incredibly disgusting a little bit. Or like the hot dog eat. No, thank you. That just doesn't even appeal to me. I don't know. But they have to do it really fast. They know if they have to get before 20 minutes. Because at 20 minutes, it's like a hard stop, right? The ghrelin levels plummet, which is important for like recognizing you're full. So they have to get as much as they can, because after 20 minutes, they're in trouble. Their body's going to fight them. So taking your time. Our goal is to eat slower, right? Take your time. I mean, when's the last time it took you 20 minutes to eat? Most people are probably like, oh, mom's done 10 minutes.
Never heard back
Okay,
from
so sit down, turn the TV off, all the things they tell you to do, eat more mindfully, notice, feel, enjoy, taste, observe, like really dig into that. Eat more slowly, use
29.
smaller plates, of course, those kind of things. And then, of course, plant-based diet. That actually looks really yummy. I'm kind of hungry. I'm like, that looks yummy for lunch today. Let's see if we can make that.
They're all odd this
So
year.
beans, really important for centenarians' diets. Fava beans, black, soy, lentils, the cornerstone of most of their diets. Meat, mostly pork, is eaten on average only 5 times per month. And the serving size is the size of about your palm, a deck of cards. That's it. Again, opposite of what a Western diet really is, right? Eat minimally processed foods. We know that's important. There has been, as you guys, we've heard in the news so much, people like Kate Middleton or big names out there getting diagnosed with cancer at very young ages. Is hitting our family very hard these days. And, you know, a lot of people are looking at processed foods and of course, plastic in our foods and all those things. So as minimal processing as you can. Eat at least 2 vegetables with every meal. That's what they do. That's what they do. On average, 5 vegetables a day if you can, or more. And nuts. Eat nuts every single day. Of course, they have good fats for you and your brain. All right. That's your nutrition. I'm not a nutritionist. I just want to be really clear about that. Okay. I'm actually preaching to myself right now. I'm like, all right, Shay, more vegetables, more vegetables. Interesting, wine at 5. Now, there is a lot of, like Dr. Amen, if you follow him, he would be like, that's absolutely ridiculous. No wine is terrible for your brain. No alcohol, terrible for your brain. All right. So I'm putting it in here because it's in the blue zones, right? It's one of the 9 principles, but people in all the blue zones, except for Seventh-day Adventists. Okay. So again, alcohol or no alcohol, you can be healthy. Let me be very clear. But most of the people in the blue zones do drink every day, but of course, 1 or 2 drinks do it socially. I think that's the big takeaway, right? It's a social experience. They do it with food, mostly red wine, which we know has better antioxidants for you. They did a study. They found a little bit of red wine when you eat vegetables actually increases the uptake of antioxidants. Okay. But again, your personal preference, because the Seventh-day Adventists show you don't have to drink to be healthy, obviously. And no, I think funny side note, you can't save up and drink all 14 drinks on Saturday. Sorry, folks. All right. Sense of belonging and purpose. So, you know, we've seen people have, for a very long time, the decline of churchgoers, right? Anybody go to church? I'm not trying to shame or blame or anything. I'm just like kind of curious. People go to church, don't go to church, or have your own way of connecting, praying, or being present, right, with nature kind of things. Those are ways. But all but 5 of these, they did a special end-up study, which you can look at, of 263 people who lived to over 100. All but 5 belong to a faith-based community of some sort. All but 5. And denomination doesn't matter, right? It's not like Baptist versus Catholics. It didn't matter what denomination you were. Research has shown that attending faith-based services 4 times a month will add 4 to 14 years onto your life expectancy. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so the choice is yours. Maybe jump back and find something else. If you're like, you were raised like me in a faith that doesn't really speak to you now, maybe you find a different one, right? Go explore different experiences in your local communities. All right. Andrew, you have a question? Yeah, jump in, please do. Or maybe you were just raising your hand like and it popped up.
No, can we just
Mine
move
does that too. Accidental hand pop up. Does that all the time now. But if you guys do have any questions, you can please interrupt me. Please go for it. And maybe, you know, loved ones first, family first. I had a really wonderful mentor of mine in the military, a Colonel Payne was his name. It's still alive, I'm sure, out there. I gotta reach out and find him. Lovely man. And we were talking about, you know, all these acts of giving out in the world and doing that. And he's like, Shay, never forget charity starts at home. You know, and like, don't forget to serve your family first. Don't forget to be present with your family. I was like, noted. Thank you very much. So successful centenarians in the blue zones put their families first, right? They do, in general, keep their aging parents and grandparents nearby or live with them in the home. Now, we know in the Western world, that is not the direction we go in, and to our detriment to not have those generational influences. And I think it depends on also culture. Different cultures do that differently here in the US. So that's a different way of thinking about getting older, right? That we maybe not have thought about enriches our lives, or maybe you have. Also, they commit to a life partner, people who live the longest. That adds up to 3 years. And they invest in their children with time and love. Of course, we know they're going to be more likely to take care of you when the time comes. I got my eye on one of my kids. The other one, I'm not so sure is going to happen, but I got one, I'm pretty sure she's going to do it. Don't forget that. Somebody got to take care of you. All right. And then I just love this picture. I've done this many times on the map with my Yoga Fit friends, yoga family. Oh my gosh. Laugh, cry, hug each other, hold hands, lay there, be together. It's a really cool experience, isn't it? To know you're deeply connected and loved. So we got to find our tribe. We got to find our tribe, our connection. Social circles, that's part of the deal with centenarians. That was, again, their big takeaway. Okinawans created what's called moyas. I can't say that probably correctly. And that's groups of 5 friends that are committed to each other for life, right? Like you're like, you know, like even from birth, they're like, okay, we're going to get a tattoo. We're blood sisters, brother, whatever. Like they commit to each other. They show up for each other. Research from the Framingham study shows that smoking, obesity, happiness, and even loneliness are contagious. So if your friends are unhealthy, you're more likely to be unhealthy. That's just the deal, right? Your peer group, you know, who are the people you're hanging around with? Your environment matters, to include the people you surround yourself with. That doesn't mean we should shun people who live unhealthy lives. I think we absolutely have to make an intention to connect with them, to help them. But like your circle of like your close friends, I think you understand what I'm saying here. So I hope I'm coming across correctly on that one. The social networks of long-lived people have favorably shaped their lives. It's more likely like you're going to look like the people around you, right? And your behavior choices. So, and there's another, this is kind of like a sad stat that came out as well. In the 80s, Americans, and again, different in different countries, had an average of 3 close friends. Today, that number has dropped between 1 to 2. That doesn't sound significant, but it is. Because research shows if you don't have at least 3 friends that you can call on a bad day, it shows you're shaving about 8 years of your life expectancy. How many people are on right now? 33. I want you to know, I know most of you on this call, I have you on my phone call, my phone. Okay. I'm calling you. Some of you, you know, I call you. I already do that. So that's important. When you're having a bad day, do you feel like you have someone you can give a call to? If not, here's my number, 505-205-9029. I'm serious. I just put my number out there for the whole world. Please give me a call, right? Text me. I'll say, hey, let's do this. Let's chat. I want you to know I'm here for you. All right. So that's a challenge for all of us, right? 3 close friends. I know Facebook friends. Okay, I get it. But like people you can actually pick up the phone and call. Do people call anymore? My kids don't. Like calling isn't a thing. Actually, FaceTiming is a thing. They'll do that. All right. So getting to it so we can get to our practice here. This is our goal. Get to 100. So when will I be 100? 2024. Oh, this should be easy, right? 21, 24. Is that? No, that's not right. 19. I know I heard that in my head. Just pretend I did not say that. Wasn't born today, this year. But people in 2024 are going to be 21, 24. I will be long gone. 1970, 2070, folks. I'll be 100. Yes. Wow. Holy cow. Okay. Party at my place. Somewhere fun. Let's do it. To make it 100, you do have to have some genetic help. There is definitely research on that. So genes are not negligent, right? I should say they're negligible. They are important, but they're not everything, right? We know epigenetics in the study on that shows that's not to be true. We have more control than we've been told. And it doesn't necessarily have to come from a pill. Obviously, even supplements don't necessarily get us better. By adopting those 9 principles in general, the average person's life expectancy, yours and mine, can increase by 10 to 12 years. 10 to 12 years. Start now. 10 good years, right? That's what I want. I want 10 good years. And 10 unhealthy years, no thank you, right? But 10 really healthy, or at least as healthy as possible, active years, absolutely. I always have said for a while, yoga is my HMO. It's my health maintenance. I mean, it's really worth investing in. I know we make it a little bit more expensive than it needs to be. There's a lot of free resources online, free yoga online, but there's something about getting in community and connection. Go to your local YMCA, your community centers. A lot of places offer it very reasonably too, by the way. Okay, this just came out. I want to kind of end with this. The World Happiness Report. They go around the world and they look at lots of different factors. So please dive into it. I don't have the time, but go into the different factors that they look at. Right? They do look at economics, healthcare systems, and also perceived ratings of happiness. So lots of those kind of things, education, etc. So this just got released 2024. They do it every year. And for the first time, America, the United States, has fallen out of the top 20 since it was first published in 2012. And a big piece of that, the reason, was driven by the well-being of Americans under 30. That's been my passion for the last couple of years since the pandemic. I have 2 young adults. Their well-being was deeply impacted, as I'm sure yours were, or you were, by the pandemic, but they took a heavy hit and they still are trying to dig themselves out from that. In comparison, those born before 1965 are on average happier than those born since 1980. And I'm like, what's happening to the 15-year people in between? Like, that's me. Like, I was 1970. I'm like, are we just sort of like purgatory? Like some happy, some unhappy? I don't know. Among millennials, evaluation of one's own life drops with each year of age, while among boomers, life satisfaction increases with their age. So we're going in the wrong direction with our young people, and that's opposite of people in other parts of the world. And I thought this is interesting that in some parts of the world, the US, one of those, children are already experiencing the equivalent of a midlife crisis. And it's like, wow. Right? They feel the weight of the world. They feel the difficulties going on again in their environments. All right. I know it's kind of sad. The big picture about that World Happiness Report. Americans, we feel glum about issues ranging from loneliness to the economy and our country's political leadership. Between the lines, Gallup pointed to Americans under 30, as I just said, feel worse. So there's that's a big part of that steep drop. Young people feel less supported by friends and family, less free to make life choices, more stressed, less satisfied with their living conditions. They also feel less confident in governments and have increased perceptions of corruption. The report also found that older people are now happier than young people in North America, which is the opposite in lots of different places. This is a big picture of the 2024 happiness. The least in the world, the least happy place in the world, and the least place I would like to be truthful with you. I mean, there's other places not so happy as Afghanistan. I think we can imagine
I
why.
knew it.
Horrible treatment
I
of
knew it.
women, young girls, but just in general, not a great place
knew
to
it.
live. The happiest place, Finland. Lots of it up here in Northern Europe have consistently rated higher for happiness and all over the places. You can see here we're not unhappy, right? But we're dropping a little bit in North America. Hey, Canadians, good job. You're doing good. You're doing better. You're the happiest in North America. The Dominican Republic is the least happiest in North America. South America, it's Venezuela is the least happy. And Uruguay has jumped actually and become the most happy in South America. Very interesting. So you can kind of look at those. Again, I encourage you, I'll send this PowerPoint out afterwards, kind of fun facts here. So another big thing that we can look at that is in our control. So it's like some of this is not in our control. We know that. Depends on where you live in the world. Is just our beliefs on aging themselves. What are your beliefs? What have you internalized? What have I internalized about aging? Social media does not help with this. Marketing that, wow, got to give us some Botox in here, got to take, again, all these supplements. I've fallen for it. Oh my gosh. Look a certain way. And that when that starts to decline, there goes your benefit to society, right? That sense of feeling useful in society we know is a problem. In here, that's not around the world. Other people really do value their elders. That's part of what I try to bring to my chair yoga classes, that sense of thank you to my elders. Many of them served in the military. Many of them live apart from their grandchildren and children. And I love to just spend some time in connection and letting them know I appreciate them. I love to hear their life experiences. I found one lady, she's like, oh, I went to a Janis Joplin concert, right? I was like, tell me about that experience. How cool. So yeah, sitting down, just listening to our elders and their stories. But our beliefs about our aging are going to have an impact on your health and well-being overall. It absolutely influences your memory. So whether you remember, start to think about dementia, Alzheimer's, your senses get changed by it. Wow. How well you're walking actually, it physically affects you. Your beliefs on aging physically affect your body. That's
I got
amazing.
your breakfast. Come on.
How fast you're going to recover if you do get ill. And then ultimately, a study found that people with positive aging beliefs lived up to 7.5 additional years. That we can change today. That can happen right now in this moment, right? So when aging is seen as a negative experience, and you define it as terms as I'm decrepit, incompetent, dependent, and senile, individuals, obviously, this is the forehead, like, duh, of course they do, experience more stress in later life, and then they'll engage in less healthy behaviors such as exercise. When views are more positive, and those are signaled by words such as wise, alert, accomplished, or creative.
Come on, I made you some
More
breakfast.
life to be active and resilient and to have a stronger will to live.
Tiny one.
Obviously, that's a wonderful thing, right?
Papa's gonna help.
So
put the
what
air
can we do
conditioner up
about it?
today.
I just want to end with some science real fast. What is this? We're looking at a brain. Why are we looking at a brain, Shay? Well, because this is where your beliefs are, right? This is the CEO of you. This is driving the car of you all the time. So this very important thing that I actually teach at a workshop called somatosensory yoga, reticular activating system, your RAS, strongly driven by your sensory inputs, your eyes and your ears, anything visually, auditory. And so imagine you're walking in a crowded place and you hear your name, Shay, which isn't a very common name. So what happens? I turn my head right towards that information to see what's going on, right? Who's calling my name? Why are they calling my name? That is part of my RAS. That is deep in that's in your brain stem. And it's your memories of who you are and your beliefs of who you are, to include like your name. But also what you then end up attending to or tuning into the world around you. And it acts as what's called a gating system. Through all of our senses, right? We have our 5 senses. We actually have more senses kind of than that. We get so much information. I forget how many gigabytes. It's enormous. There's no way that we can process all that information every little bit. So the brain filters it. It's doing it right now. It's doing it the minute you wake up, that filtering system, a gating system. It filters out 98 to 99% of all information coming in from the senses, and only lets you, because obviously it would take a lot of resources if we attended to every little piece of information. By the way, that would be like looking like an acid trip. Okay, be like, oh, everything. You wouldn't get anything done. You wouldn't get anything done. So it's important. But you want to think about this system is also determining where to turn your attention, where to put your energetic resources, how you're going to move, what you're going to interact with in your day, what you're going to appreciate in your day. So we can change this to include, like I said, our beliefs about aging. So we have that in our control to change that. So really sort of challenging, not just beliefs about aging, beliefs about your purpose of who you are, right? Or your purpose of getting up in the morning, or who are you? Why are you here? All of those things that we just talked about, that's part of your RAS. So that's a good thing to kind of challenge when you can, a belief that doesn't serve you anymore about yourself or the world. And just maybe sort of sit back and ponder, is this a healthy belief for me? Is this an unhealthy, this negative, cynical view of the world? That doesn't mean we don't attend to things and that need fixing in the world. Of course we do. But overall, what's your gating system? Does it shift towards the positive or towards the negative in the world on balance, right? All right. So before we practice, I just have to say, promote Yoga Fit. Absolutely. These self-care Saturdays, so excited. Thank you for joining me for the first one. All my friends, new and old, so happy you're here. The next one is going to be, I believe it's May 25th. You're going to get more, I'll send more information posted out, and I'll send it to the people that already signed up. Just so you know, it's going to, and I don't know if I spelled Qigong right. I'm not an expert in it, but Amy Marshall is, and she is teaching the next free Qigong class. It's going to be a mini class on May 25th. So get more information on that. Of course, it'll be recorded. And then we have webinars on various topics, really easy for the public. Anybody can attend these as well, only for $29. The next one coming up is my dear friend, Ali Webb. She's doing that April 9th, 6 to 7:30. And it's about the business of yoga therapy, establishing and expanding your practice, to how to collaborate with mental health professionals, either as like a health and well-being coach. If you're one of those, you could use this, yoga teacher, or a yoga therapist. So just so you know, it's really cool what she's doing, where she is integrating yoga with Western medicine, and she is doing excellent. And she has free resources for you to do that as well. So if you want to sign up for that, it will be recorded. Of course, we have a 200-hour program, a 300-hour program, a yoga therapy program, other workshops for personal development. Reach out to me or go to the website there, and I'll send more information in the follow-up. Awesome. All right, I'm going to stop the share right now. Let me look at some messages real quick, and then we're going to get ready to have our practice. Yeah, nice. Thanks, Brandy. Oh, thanks for explaining that, Brandy. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Fabulous. Okay. Oh, I didn't. Oh, you know what? Wasn't able to hear because I have my microphone. Sorry. That's why. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't realize that people weren't are muted. So sorry about that. Oh, I missed it. All right. So let's get ready to practice. Simple practice. You could also practice in a chair. Here's a fun fact. You can practice in your mind. You can just practice in your own brain. How cool is that? We're going to start standing. So pause, please. Just a second. Let me get to my mat. Again, feel free to have a chair nearby if you want. This isn't going to be anything complicated. It's going to be about 30 minutes, just 30 minutes. All right. Awesome. Oh, again, you can practice in your brain. Sorry, I got a little distracted by some of the chat. Practice in your brain. If you can't do it physically, it still works the same. And the first exercise is going to show that, right? Magic minute. All right. Let's see here. I'll make sure that everybody's muted here. Fabulous. That's a good point for next time since I didn't have my microphone undone. All right. Okay, I can see myself. Hopefully you can see me. Uh-oh, something happened here. I'm viewing, okay, sorry about that. Something is not quite right. I don't know why. There we go. All right. Okay, so starting just standing, or you can do this seated. This is called the Magic Minute. I do this in somatosensory. Every time I do it, I'm always blown away by it. It's a wonderful way to kind of shake up your beliefs about the limitations of your mind and body and how they organize the being of you in the world. Again, this is kind of, ooh, something keeps messing up. I don't know why on that one. All right, hopefully it's going to work. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Okay, so we're going to take our right arm out to the side. And the first thing is really simple. The only thing is your feet can't move. And then we're going to twist back to the right. And get a mark on your wall. Put a dot on the wall where how far you can twist. Okay, this is called the pre-test. And then we're going to bring that back. All right, nice. And now we're going to do 2 exercises. They're very simple. We wouldn't even call them exercises per se. We're going to bring our right arm and we're going to pull it back into the socket. We're going to turn our head and eyes to the left as we hold our right arm strongly, like you're reaching for something, and like really feel your right arm strong. A lot of dynamic tension. So we're telling a kind of weird story here in the body mind. We're looking one way, but our arms reaching the other. And about 20 to 30 seconds, and then bringing it back in. So if you're practicing this with somebody else, 20 to 30 seconds-ish. Gauge it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, right arm out to the side, same thing. Bring your fingertips of your left hand to your chin and turn your head to the right, but your eyeballs are going to go to the left. So you're going to look to your peripheral left. Keep holding your right arm really strongly here. Head to the right, eyes to the left. And again, 20 to 30 seconds. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and then bring your head and your arm back into alignment. Now remember, feet don't move. We're doing the post test. All right, that's it. Simple. Right arm and, ooh, big difference. Yeah, big difference. Cool. Well, that's pretty cool, but that's not the magic part. This is the magic part. Okay, so left side, left arm up. And again, feel it strong. We're still going to do the pre and post test the same physically, okay? So let's twist back to the left. Let's twist back to the left. And again, get a dot in the wall and then come back. Nice. And then we're going to bring that left arm, again, strongly here into the body. Now this time, I'm sorry, pause. We're going to only do it in our brain. Whoop, I almost messed that up. Okay, so this time, the 2 exercises we did on the other side, we're doing them on this side, but only in our mind, only imagining them. So feet stay steady. Now close your eyes if it helps. If not, just eyes soft. Imagine lifting your left arm out to the side. Imagine turning your head and your eyes to the right. Head and eyes to the right, arm to the left. Feel it in your body, or maybe project it in a mirror, right? Project your image in a mirror. Sometimes that makes it a little bit easier to visualize. Feel your left arm in the socket, your head and your eyes to the right. And then bring everything back in your mind's eye and open your eyes. Again, we didn't move. Now we're going to do that same activity on the other side, okay? So arm up to the left in your mind. Now bring the fingertips of your right hand to your chin. Turn your head to the left, but your eyes to the right. Feel it in your body or see it in a mirror. Head to the left, eyes to the right. And again, about 20 seconds. All right, then open your eyes. This will be shocking, right? Is this going to work? We just imagined it. Let's see. Left arm out to the side. And woo. Yeah, definitely actually hit the wall on that one. Cool. I love the magic minute. I love it so much. All right. We're going to actually come on to our bottoms. Let's come seated. Feel free to support yourself if you have a block or anything else. You don't have to have a mat. If you just have your carpet, it's totally fine. All right. You can join anywhere. I think that's kind of the wonderful egalitarian way of yoga. even though we make it kind of a little bit prohibitive, expensive going to a yoga studio. But really, you don't need shoes, special shoes. You don't have to have special clothes, right? Okay, a mat, maybe if you need it, but really you don't have to. Isn't that awesome? You need you and yourself and your breath. We're going to start with some breath work. Again, you can do this seated in a chair as well. Let's maybe bring our right hand to our heart, our left hand to our belly. If you're comfortable closing your eyes or just stare at something softly. Bringing awareness gently to the breath. Just feeling the breath move in a subtle way in and out. Feeling the breath move in your belly or in your chest. Slowing the breath down if you can. And smoothing the edges out. Feeling your shoulders heavy. Relaxing through your face, softening the jaw. Let's take a moment to remember how connected we are, all these people right now, in the spaces that they occupy, but one feeling of connection with all of us. And then we're just going to start to move gently, releasing our hands. They can be anywhere onto the thighs, to the side, just some seated cat-cows. All we're going to do is think about the spine here. So as we inhale, we're going to push our belly, our chest forward, sort of activating the back of our body, feel it strong. Exhaling, we're going to rock over the pelvis. We're going to pull our belly button in, let our head drop, keeping the neck relaxed. Inhaling, expanding the chest forward, extending the spine, shoulders back and down, maybe slightly lift the chest. Exhaling, rocking back, rounding the spine. And just continue to flow with your breath. Trying to link the breath to the movement, or even better, link the movement to your breath. Surrender to the breath and the power of the breath to move us in a more organized, synchronized, and easier fashion. It just feels better to move that way. This is what we call vinyasa flow in yoga, right? We're moving with our breath. Maybe noticing the quality of your breath as you move. We need one point of focus, always coming back to the breath. That's a great plan. Very calming for our nervous system. The benefits of yoga, of course, right? Balances our nervous system out. All right, then nice and tall, we're going to go right into lateral flexion. And so I'm just going to have to cue my hands. If you see me opposite, just kind of listen to me. Right hand to the mat or the ground. Left arm, we're going to take a big morning stretch here. Squeezing this right side waist. Makes it feel really good. And then slowly coming over to the other side. When you're ready, inhaling that right arm up. Exhaling, feeling the left side waist bend a little bit. Inhaling to transition, left arm up, right arm down. Exhaling, lateral flexion of the spine. Inhaling to the other side, reach, reach, reach. Exhaling gently over to the side. Just continue to flow with your breath now. Really, again, surrendering to the feeling of the breath leading the way. I always say it's like putting the horse in front of the cart again. The whole body, the whole nervous system physiologically gets recalibrated. And one more time, we're going to take a simple final movement of the spine through rotation. So let's just bring both arms over to the right. And again, hold on to whatever you can find here. Feeling this right rib cage, right lung rotate back. Doesn't matter, don't worry about where the head is looking, keeping the neck really easy here. Maybe taking a moment to really focus on breathing into that right lung. Exhaling, gently rotating a little bit more. Use the breath to find the twist. One more time, one more nice big breath here. And then big inhale, arms up and over. Maybe big morning stretch at the top. Exhaling over to the other side. Both hands over to the left. Maybe draw that left shoulder blade back a little bit. On the inhale, spine extends. Exhaling, rotation. Again, moving in a more gentle way, especially when we're rotating. Continuing to focus on our breath. Nice. And then back to center. We're going to come now to tabletop posture onto our mat. So stacking our joints, we're going to have shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees, all fours. And grounding through the hands if we can, if it feels comfortable. If not, fist for wrist is totally fine here, right? Because our joints are stacked. So just taking a moment. We're going to do that same thing we did seated, right? Our cat-cow. So let's go ahead and come into cat, pressing into the mat, scooping the belly, relaxing the back of the head. And taking that time to really feel grounded through the hands evenly, down through the knees. Belly drawing in and up. Inhaling, moving through a neutral spine now, and opening into our cow pose. Option with the feet. You can have the feet flat, toes tucked, doesn't really matter. Make sure we keep the elbows slightly bent, just pulling the mat gently back with the hands. We want to think about squeezing our back waist, but softening the throat, the center of the chest. Can you make it softer through those areas? Exhaling, moving with the breath. Back to that vinyasa flow, moving into cat pose. When you're ready, inhaling into our cow pose. Focusing on the feeling of the spine, initiating this movement, and the limbs, the rest of the body, just kind of following along. So often when we're just kind of on autopilot movement, it's the limbs driving it, and right, the breath kind of tries to keep up. We're really doing something powerful when we put the breath first, we put the spine first, we restore our house. And then from here, we're going to go into child's pose. Now, child's pose, we're going to drop our hips to our heels if we can. You can stack your fists, bring your forehead to your fist, or bring your forehead to a block. If this is uncomfortable for knees or ankles, you're going to lift up higher. You know, toes can stay tucked. Or the same thing, bring your forehead down to your hands maybe. So everybody has a place that they feel comfortable in. This is a great opportunity to just focus on the breath, you know, sort of come back to that if we've lost it. Grounding, one of the big principles in our yoga classes are starting with that sense of knowing where we are in relation to the earth, to gravity. It pulls us into the present moment. We're better able to focus on the breath, what's the body telling us, listening to the story of the body. And then we can also do this powerful thing. Remember that RAS system, we can plant a new seed in the mind. Now in yoga, we call that intention setting or sankalpa. So let's just find a word, probably a feeling word if you're new to intention setting. What would you like to feel like today, right? It's that simple. Would you like to feel more peace or more ease in your life? A sense of greater connection or compassion or gratitude? Usually a feeling word is great, and just breathing that, making that your sankalpa for this practice, this mini practice, very powerful. When we're ready, we have our sankalpa, right? Okay, let's come up. We're going to come to tabletop again. Let's go ahead and extend our right leg straight behind. We're going to tuck our toes onto the mat. And let's just rock forward and back just a little bit. And then maybe reaching back through that right heel. Inner right thigh kind of rotates down. And we're going to float that right leg into the air. Let's take a moment, maybe roll that right ankle around a little bit. By the way, you can always keep it tucked onto the mat. That's totally fine. Let's stay lifted through that right shoulder. Option is to float the left hand forward or palm in space, turned inward. And then imagine someone pulling your left wrist forward, your right heel back behind, as we lift light with gravity, keeping the neck relaxed. Now, it's a lot of work. Good activation of the spine as well. When we're ready, we're going to come back to neutral. Option is to move into table, or I should say to cat pose for just a minute, just to release the spine. And then let's come to neutral and let's extend that left leg long. Tucking the toes onto the mat, again, reaching out of that left hip, and our left thigh rotates down. Option, float, roll that left ankle around a little bit. Maybe take that right arm in space, maybe shake out that front hand, no tension, and then finding that nice big long line from the right side of the waist through that right hand, and from the left side through that left foot. This is called spinal balance. And then when you're ready, back into cat. I think you know where we're going from here. Inhaling, right leg, left arm. You can tap it on the ground, option float in space. Exhale, either tabletop or cat pose. Inhale, switching sides. So flowing spinal balance. Of course, now moving with your unique breath. We all have a unique breath pattern. That's part of kind of discovering who we are in yoga. Really learning to listen for that unique pattern. Getting accustomed to the own rhythm of your being, your story. See if you can slow it down. Can you make the limbs feel stronger? Again, maintaining that connection to gravity here like you're swimming through water. One more time, and we're going to meet in our child's pose again. Again, any version of child's pose that feels good for your body right now, taking a moment, remembering our intention. Of all the studies of yoga that I've looked at, the main benefit or the main medicine is really the nervous system shifting, right? Which happens from focusing on the breath. And then coming here into child's pose, where we have the opportunity to really rest and reset, to push that big reset button across all of our physiological processes of well-being. Not just the nervous system, but then we have like all of the rhythms of the body, our cranial rhythms, our mental rhythms, right? More balanced, better able to have clarity in the mind. Our digestive rhythms, right? In the belly, our cardiovascular rhythms, right? And we can really help to increase that medicinal effect that we know of yoga with adding in that belief work stuff, right? That's part of the intention setting. It really does over time put us on a completely new trajectory of health in our life. Remembering our intention. When we're ready, let's come up. All right, so option here, always take any options that feel good. We're going to move into just what we call a half series. We're going to walk our arms out. So this is a little bit of, sort of Yoga Fit 101, level 1 stuff for those out there, advanced practitioners. Always good to come back to the basics, right? And so this is extended child's pose, walking our arms out without locking our elbows, finding a neutral spine, hips back, maybe pull the mat back with the hands just a little bit. Should feel really good. A little bit more active child's pose. And then we shift forward, coming into our kneeling plank. The elbows or the shoulders go past the wrists, elbows hug in, and we're going to come onto our belly. So hopefully you can still see me here. It's not exactly perfect. Walking the hip bones back, top of the feet to the mat, neck is neutral, and then we're going to pull the chest forward. Using the hands, lift a little bit. We still want to have that softness to the base of the throat, the center of the chest. And then everything back down, right? Find gravity with the belly, with the chest, with the thighs. Tucking the toes, scooping the belly, inhaling into our kneeling plank. Exhaling, extended child's pose. Pausing here. If you want to make that into a flow, you can join me. You could also go back to cat-cow as an option. When you're ready, inhaling, kneeling plank. Exhaling, we call it chaturanga, elbows hug in, thighs, belly, chest to the mat. Inhaling, gentle lift through the throat and the heart. Exhaling, back down, and then inhaling, back up when you're ready, and into extended child's pose. Again, if you'd like to join me again, inhaling, shifting forward, kneeling plank. Exhaling, chaturanga onto our bellies. Inhaling, easy cobra. Exhaling, finding all of that energy, lifting up, and then back into our extended child's pose. Well done. Taking a breath. Option one more time, stacking our hands, forehead to the block or to our hands or to the mat. Finding the breath really deep and full in the belly, especially to the sides of the belly. And you feel the sides of your belly open up, expand. Always think of a tree frog, right? With their bellies expanding out to the side. Really thinking about letting go of any gripping, any deep tension pattern. Can we find that in our belly and just let that go for a moment? All right, we're going to come up to our first down dog. If you've never done down dog, welcome to your first one. How exciting. We're going to lift our hips up and back. Our feet are hip distance apart. Hands are shoulder distance apart. We're looking like an upside down V, right? Like a mountain. And we're just gonna pedal it out. You can just alternate pressing one and then the other. You kind of shake the head side to side a little bit. Super easy. You're not gonna do anything too complicated here. And then from here, let's bring our knees back down, left knee to the mat, right foot forward. That's a big movement. And it's a big movement. So please take your time to get there safely. Right knee over right ankle. And we're going to be able to scissor our legs here. So if your hips are way, way back, this left hip, just think about relaxing it forward. We want to feel grounded through this right foot. So maybe lift the toes, find big toe, pinky toe, heel. And we're going to take our right hand to our right thigh. Now from here, we're going to drop. It's kind of a different thing. We're going to drop that right shoulder and try to press your right shoulder down to your right knee. Then rotate open, take a gentle twist to the right. Think about that right shoulder blade dropping back. Think about that left hip forward. Now remember the rotation we did seated, same idea on this rotation. We're going to breathe to twist. So inhaling to the right side of the body, exhaling really deeply, see what happens. We want to be a little curious about what happens. One more time, nice big breath here. Left hip relaxing forward, neck is easy and free. And slowly release, coming back to center. Right away, we're going to tuck our back toes. Lift that back foot up, flatten at an angle. We'll do a simple warrior one. If you feel unsteady, walk your right foot over, right? Toes are pointed, the back toes are pointed forward here. Left hip is rotated forward a little bit. We're going to come up once we feel steady. Maybe we don't. It's okay. Get your balance, get your balance. And arms are going to be relaxed, shoulders over the hips here. Let's just start by straightening this right leg for just a second. Scoop the low belly in and up, then rebend the right knee. It's tracking towards that right baby toe. Inner left thigh spiral back. Maybe option to add the arms. So we're going to reach them back behind really strong. Energize the fingers, reach to that back heel, and then inhale, maybe up and overhead, palms rotated back. Right, feel that strength of the legs. Let that radiate up through the spine, through the fingertips, chest nice and open. And then from here, we're going to bend the elbows, straighten that front leg, little chest expansion, right? Lifting through the center of the chest. And let's just flow that. Inhaling, arms extend, front knee bends. Exhaling, lifting the chest a little bit for chest expansion. And again, inhaling, pressing down to rise up with the arms. Exhaling, big lift of the chest. And last time, pausing here. Again, feeling that strong movement up through the arm bones, but the neck is nice and relaxed. And then exhaling, hands are going to come down to heart center. We're going to go ahead and frame that right foot with our hands. This is a big movement. We're going to step back carefully, downward dog. Really carefully here. Just pedal it out. That was a lot of work. And let's just drop our right knee to the mat. Left foot forward, right away, coming to the other side. Taking a moment, left hand roots down, that left palm into the left thigh. We'll just take that simple twist, but starting with that left shoulder down to the left knee, right hip relaxes forward, left shoulder blade rotates back, opening to that twist. Staying lifted through the chest. Again, feeling a nice long spine, then just a simple rotation around our own axis, using the breath. One more nice deep breath. And then slowly rotating back to center. We're going to tuck the back toes, lift that back leg up. Again, back foot flatten at an angle. Getting our balance first. Make sure we're not on a tightrope, right? Legs are open a little bit more like railroad tracks here. And then bringing our shoulders above our hips. Just pause. Hands to heart center. When we're ready, we're going to sweep the fingertips right back, strong back leg. So press through that back heel and the outer foot. Right, energize, a lot of dynamic tension here. Keep that tension as we bring the arms overhead. Maybe drawing in and up through the sacrum, that's right above your tailbone. Chest stays expanded, head and neck stay relaxed. And then we're going to do that little flow. We're going to straighten the front leg, bend the elbows. Big lift. Inhale, let's reverse the breath on this one. Inhale to lift the chest, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend the knee, reach the arms. Feel the difference. Moving with your breath or following me. Inhaling. And exhaling, gaze is soft. Inhaling, reach to the center of the head. Exhaling, tailbone drops heavy. One last time, big lift, inhale. And exhale, pause. Thumbs relaxed, palms rotated back. Scissoring through the legs. Staying present with the breath in this moment. And then from your hands are gonna come to heart center. Listen carefully, different transition. We're gonna step the right foot to the left, however we can get there, into an easy forward fold. Super easy. Knees bent as much as we want, right? Belly to the thighs. Maybe kind of sway the body side to side, head, neck relaxed, cheekbones heavy. Opportunity with the rib cage, not really pulled down by gravity here, right? A lot of freedom to take a deeper breath into the bottom part of the lungs. And then we're just gonna bend the knees, walking the hands up to the thighs. Just hold on here for just a second, let blood pressure adjust. And then come all the way to standing, and we're gonna open up right away into our moonflowers, what we call moonflower sunflower. So toes are gonna open to the corners of our mat. Again, comfortable for your hip mobility here. So if you need to take a shorter or wider, that's totally fine, right? So your knees should feel comfortable bending them, squatting. Some of the things I've been around the world, right? Other countries squat all day long, right? They squat to eat, they squat to talk, like they're doing that. That's good for hip mobility, good for back problems, right? If you have back issues. So that's something we don't do as much in the West. So something we need to do. Heels heavy. When you're ready, inhaling, take up lots of space, straighten the legs, 5-pointed star. Exhaling, sinking the hips, shoulders heavy, hips heavy. Inhaling, moving with your breath. Something very calming to our nervous system when we start to organize our movements with our breath. Again, want to contrast experience as well. That's one of the powerful things. There's experience of heaviness, right, versus lightness. So can you really find gravity on the exhale as you go down, inhaling away from the earth, feel light. Maybe we can add that imagery as we go down. Think of the moon and now the sun. Oh, can you put that all together in an eclipse? We're about to. What would that feel like, right? No moon, no sun. It is just like interesting. Can you feel just like sort of a neutral feeling? That's weird energetically. Just thought of that. It's kind of cool. One more big breath. Exhale down. Inhaling up. Nice. Fantastic. We're going to go ahead and pause, turning our toes in. So parallel the feet, right? Toes into each other, our heels out. Do a little chest expansion. Let's bring, I call it suspender pose. Bring our thumbs into our armpits. We're going to lift our chest. Keep the chin slightly tucked in here. And then hip hinge, knee slightly bent. Let's come halfway forward, just halfway. So strong leg energy here. You can release your hands to your thighs. We're going to keep the chest nice and lifted, neck nice and relaxed. We're just going to pause halfway. Then we're going to come all the way. Feel free. If you have a chair, if you can't go all the way down, totally fine. If you have block or blocks, that's great. You can also bend your knees a lot more. Head is heavy. This is an inversion. One of the wonderful things about yoga is that we move the body differently with gravity. We invert all the time, going upside down. That helps with a lot of things, especially lymphatic flow. Our lymphatic system is strongly tied to our immune health, right? And we know that centenarians actually have a lot stronger immune cell health. Let's just rock side to side or bend the knee, whatever feels good here for just a moment. You can also rock forward and back onto the balls of the feet, into the heels of the feet. Again, remembering we can take a deeper breath here, using that to extend the spine, especially on the exhale, closer to the earth. And then from here, very simply, we're going to bring one knee to the mat and then the other. We're going to swing our legs around, and then we're going to actually come all the way onto our backs. Right? I'm going to stick to the timeline here. I could go on, I really want to, but we got to cut it short. All right. I shouldn't say short. We got to get to the 30-minute mark here. So the feet are flat, hands to the belly for just a moment. Let's reground. Let's think of the back body really grounded here. Back of the head, maybe even rock gently side to side on the back of the head. You know, that's where vision is processed. There's something comforting about just not worrying about what we see in the world for a moment, just letting that go, the visual system getting a break. And then arms alongside the body, maybe walking the shoulder blades underneath. All we're going to do is just simply flatten our lumbar curve out. So press your low back flat for a second. Should feel really good just to release the back. You got any kind of back issues? And then letting that go. Let's go ahead and take our left ankle across our right thigh. We'll take our left hand to the inner left thigh, gently press it away. Just kind of breathe some space into that left hip crease for just a moment. Might feel good to add in a little bit of rocking across the sacrum here. Again, rocking is something we do for animals, babies, right? Babies, I should say mostly, that are, not happy or to comfort or to calm them. Something we can do for ourselves as well. And then we're just going to take a simple twist. So we're going to move our hips over to the left here. We're going to extend that right leg straight. We'll take our right hand over to our left knee or thigh, left arm out like a wing, just gently bring it across. That's it. Left shoulder heavy, looking to the left. Left hand heavy. Maybe imagining you have a big sandbag there, heavy sandbag in your hand. Inhaling, breathing deeply into that left side of the body. Exhaling, bringing it across. Continuing to focus on the breath to find the twist. And then back to center. Before we go to the other side, we're just going to hug that left knee in. Option curl in just to release the back here for just a second. Maybe take a big old morning stretch, reach through the heels, reach through the arms, roll the wrists, ankles around a little bit. And we're going to go to the other side. Left knee bends, right ankle across. Gently press that inner right thigh away. And maybe rock a little bit here. And then same thing, we're just going to move our hips to the right, extend that left leg long. We'll bring that right knee across, right arm out like a wing, looking to the right, tucking that right shoulder blade into the body. Big breath to the outer hip, inhaling, exhaling. And then releasing back to center. Let's just go ahead and hug both knees in, maybe curl up into a little bitty ball if it feels good. Maybe kind of rock on the back body. Any gentle movement here before Shavasana, which is our final relaxation. We can have knees bent, knees a little knock-kneed if you want, hands back to the belly. If you have tender backs, that might be good for you. Of course, you can let the legs flop open if you'd like, palms open. You can lay on your side. I'm going to come to seated for just a moment, just to briefly talk us through a little Shavasana, final relaxation. So much more than that. It's so much where we get to reap the benefits of our practice. No matter if it was 30 minutes, 5 minutes, hour and a half, doesn't matter. Don't skip this part. It's the opportunity, right, where we've kind of cleaned house energetically. What's there? You are there. Remember, knowing who you are lends to better knowing of what to do, how to be in the world, where to put our energetic efforts. The highest currency we've been given is our own unique energetic blueprint and pattern. What are we doing with that? It's hard when we feel cluttered inside. I know that. I feel that a lot of times. So that's when we come to yoga, like brushing your teeth. It's a daily practice. It doesn't have to look like a full asana practice either. It can be this for just a few moments. Let's take a moment to find our breath again, to be with the breath. The breath rides us home to who we are. Let it carry us home to us. Feel the breath moving in your body, the body really breathing you. Maybe swallow and relax the jaw. Soften at the root of the tongue. Expand the palate of the mouth. Feel the heaviness through the body and the lightness through the body. Both. Remembering your sankalpa, your intention. Simply breathing it through your body right now. Let's take a moment to think of somebody in your life that maybe needs some medicine, this kind of medicine. Can we imagine them enveloped in maybe a healing white golden light, or however you want to think of them? Taking a moment to just make our world a little bit better, their life, their world a little bit better. Taking a moment to think about everybody here today who chose to be here in this time and space. How powerful that is. And then when you're ready, we'll just simply start to deepen our breath, make it a little bit more active. Maybe wiggle our toes, our fingers around a little bit, roll our wrists, our ankles around a little bit. Option to take a big old stretch, like you wake up in the morning, hug your knees and rock, and eventually find a side to roll onto, right or left. And then coming up to an easy seated posture. When you get there, allowing the hands to come together. Option to turn our heads to our heart. Be feeling connected to a greater organized, centralized sense of who you are. And a greater feeling of connection to the world around you. They go hand in hand. I want to thank you for showing up today, for yourself, for your families, for your communities, for the whole world. Wow. Amazing way to start our weekend. Namaste. I'm going to come back to the screen. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.